Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Pakistan in 2016 for SAARC summit, 12 years after Vajpayee's trip in 2004. Congress and BJP spar over the National Herald case in Parliament, proceedings stalled in the Rajya Sabha. In the Lok Sabha, Congress members accused government of harassing party chief ministers and leaders. Mallikarjuna Kharge claims false cases being filed against opposition. BJP hits out at the Congress, says party should answer court summons, dares Rahul Gandhi to prove his charge of selective campaign by the PMO. And India-Pakistan cricket series likely to be played between December 24th and 5th of January. India yet to confirm dates. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Pakistan in 2016 to take part in the SAARC summit. News agency PTI quoted Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj saying this to reporters in Islamabad. The Foreign Minister also reportedly said she will be accompanying Modi on the trip. The last prime ministerial visit to Pakistan was by Atal Bihari Vajpayee in January 2004. It was also the SAARC summit then. Sushma Swaraj also met Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif for tea. She also met Pakistani counterpart Sartaj Aziz during a banquet hosted by him for the heads of delegates. The Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj today held one-on-one meetings with Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani on the sidelines of the Heart of Asia summit. Both reviewed bilateral ties, including the terror threat in Afghanistan and the status of the reconciliation process. Swaraj is on a two-day visit to Islamabad and will return to India later this evening.
Addressing the Heart of Asia conference in Islamabad, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Wednesday called for collective efforts to restore peace in the war-torn Afghanistan. She said the intensity of militancy had grown manifold in the country in recent times.
In the last few months, terrorism in Afghanistan has grown in both intensity and scope. Terrorists have made concerted efforts to capture and hold territory, reminding us that they have not changed.
Swaraj also reached out to neighbouring Pakistan, stating that it was time the two nations showed maturity and started doing business with each other.
Let me take this opportunity to extend our hand to Pakistan as well. It is time that we display the maturity and self-confidence to do business with each other and strengthen regional trade and cooperation. The entire world is watching and rooting for a change.
Lauding Afghan forces for countering militancy, Swaraj extended India's support in strengthening its defences. Afghanistan is expecting 4 attack helicopters from India to fight the growing Taliban insurgency. The assault helicopters will be the first offensive weapon to Afghanistan since India signed a strategic partnership agreement with Kabul in 2011.
It is also the collective duty of all of us to ensure that the forces of terrorism and extremism do not find sanctuaries and safe havens in any name, form or manifestation. We in Afghanistan's proximity have a particular responsibility in this regard.
The Heart of Asia conference is aimed at shoring up support for war-torn Afghanistan. It comes months after the first inconclusive talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, the sparring over the National Herald case between the Congress and the government stalled proceedings of the Rajya Sabha on Wednesday as well. The Congress accused the government of exerting pressure on the Enforcement Directorate to falsely implicate the party's top leadership in the case. The government too launched counter-offensive on the Congress and challenged it for a discussion. Amid the escalating war of words, the House witnessed several adjournments.
जब इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर ने ये महसूस किया कि ये गलत फैसला हुआ है इनको नोटिस देने का, तो इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट ने इस केस को क्लोज करने का निर्णय लिया.
The National Herald case rocked the winter session of the Parliament for the second consecutive day. In Rajya Sabha, the Congress alleged that the government was trying to intimidate the opposition by misusing official agencies. Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad clarified that his party respected the judicial process but smelt political vendetta in the way the case has unfolded. He even accused the government of ignoring the alleged misdeeds of tainted BJP ministers, demanding immediate action against them.
क्या ये सत्य नहीं है कि इसी गवर्नमेंट ने, आपकी गवर्नमेंट ने अगस्त के महीने में जिस दिन एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर ने ये कोई केस क्लोज कर दिया और उसके 15 दिन के अंदर अंदर उस एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर को इस सरकार ने हटा दिया और दूसरा एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर लाया.
The TMC also lent support to the Congress and accused the government of resorting to open political vendetta.
When there is open political vendetta, when there is open political vendetta, not only here, all across the country, sir, what are we left to do? We are left with no other option. So what do we do, sir? This is not the first time it's happening.
Defending the government against all charges, MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi blamed the Congress for scuttling the passage of crucial bills. While challenging the Congress for a debate on the allegation of political vendetta, Naqvi accused the party of holding Parliament to ransom for judicial case pertaining to 2 individuals. He also raised a point of order asserting sub judice matters cannot be raised in the House.
Leader of the opposition को कहना चाहते हैं कि यस हम डिस्कशन के लिए तैयार हैं, लेकिन हमने कभी नहीं कहा कि हम नेशनल हेरिटेज के मुद्दे पर डिस्कशन करना चाहते हैं. हमने कहा कि आपने जो हमारे ऊपर पॉलिटिकल वेंडेटा का आरोप लगाया है, हम तैयार हैं. आप जब चाहिए, जिस समय चाहिए, उस समय हम डिस्कशन करने को तैयार हैं. लेकिन जो इशू कोर्ट में है, आप जाकर के कोर्ट में लड़िए.
The Congress MPs protested by marching into the well of the House. Verbal spats marked yet another day in Parliament, with both 0 hour and question hour and legislative business getting washed out. After repeated adjournments, when the strife refused to simmer down, the chair adjourned the House till Thursday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
The House stands adjourned till 11 a.m.
Well, Congress continued its protest in Lok Sabha on Wednesday. Two parties' leader in the House, Mallikarjuna Kharge, accused the Modi government of doing politics of vendetta. He said that the BJP government was targeting the Congress leaders and framing them in false cases. The Trinamool Congress supported the Congress and staged a walkout. Government rejected all allegations before saying that the Congress was trying to pressurize the judiciary by stalling Parliament.
Congress members raised slogans in Lok Sabha on Wednesday too. Party MPs resorted to sloganeering during the entire duration of question hour. The party has accused the government of working with political vendetta. During 0 hour, however, the speaker allowed Congress leader Mallikarjuna Kharge to speak.
देश में कैसे 2 अलग-अलग कानून हैं, एक रूलिंग पार्टी के लिए, एक उनके लिए, और दूसरा जो गुजरात में विरोधी पक्ष के नेता है शंकर सिंह वाघेला के घर पे रेड होता है. यहाँ पर शिवराज सिंह घोटाला करते हैं उनके घर पे, या उनको आज तक इंक्वायरी नहीं की गई. उसी ढंग से आप हिमाचल प्रदेश पे वहाँ पर शादी हो रही है, शादी चल रही है, डोली जा रही है, उस वक्त सीबीआई का रेड होता है, कुछ भी नहीं मिला, तो फिर उसके बाद में एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट जाके डिस्प्रोपोर्शनेट के लिए उनको फंसा देती है. उनके लिए कानून अलग है. फिर उसके बाद राजस्थान में गहलोत के खिलाफ, पायलट के खिलाफ, इनके खिलाफ केसेस आप दर्ज करते हैं. आपके लोग, आपके मुख्यमंत्री घोटाला करते हैं तो उनके खिलाफ केस नहीं है.
Congress party also found support from Trinamool Congress. As the Congress members shouted slogans, TMC MPs stood at their places as a show of support. TMC MP Saugata Roy started to speak in Kharge's favor, but the speaker interrupted him, prompting party MPs to walk out.
You allow me, I am supporting Mallikarjuna Kharge's contention.
Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu spoke for the government. He said the Congress party only wanted to disrupt proceedings and influence the courts. He also said that the government had nothing to do with the case.
उन्होंने सब कुछ के बारे में बोला. इनके पास कोई तथ्य नहीं है, और जो कोर्ट ने जो आदेश दिया, वो कोर्ट का आदेश के पीछे सरकार का कोई रोल नहीं है. ये कोर्ट का आदेश है. ये लोग कोर्ट का आदेश को पालन नहीं करना चाहते. यहाँ पार्लियामेंट के द्वारा जुडिशरी को धमकी दे रहे. पार्लियामेंट के द्वारा जुडिशरी को ये लोग चेतावनी दे रहे हैं, ये लोकतंत्र के हित में नहीं है।
When Congress MPs protested in the House in the morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was present in the House. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Shyam Sundar. Shyam, as far as proceedings in Parliament are concerned, the winter session of Parliament started, rather calmly, but then suddenly chaos seems to have entered the Parliament in both houses, the Rajya Sabha as well as the Lok Sabha. And the Congress, of course, is quite adamant that it is the BJP's fault for all these cases and the judiciary intervening in several of these cases.
You are right, Frank. After we heard Rahul Gandhi, he directly accused PMO. He said that PMO is involved in politics of vendetta. He yesterday also he said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is responsible for this. And after that, today in the Parliament campus, he talked to the journalists and he directly attacked Prime Minister's office. And he said that Prime Minister's office is doing politics of vendetta. So it is very, very clear. And we have seen in Lok Sabha today, the moment question session started, all Congress MPs, they started slogan shouting, and Mallikarjun Kharge, leader of Congress, he tried to say something, but then Speaker Sumitra Mahajan told him that he hasn't given any notice, so she could not allow him in the beginning, but she allowed him in the 0 hour, and then he, at that point of time, he said that not only Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, not only National Herald case, he articulated Congress allegations, and he said that Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, Veerbhadra Singh, or it is leader of opposition in Gujarat, Shankar Singh Waghela, and other leaders like Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan, they are targeted by the BJP governments, and these all things are happening on because Prime Minister is supporting these kind of actions by BJP state governments and central government. Though from government side, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. M. Venkaiah Naidu, he replied and he said that it is a court case and there is no role of BJP or central government in the case, and Congress is trying to hide its corruption cases, and they are trying to make pressure on the judiciary also by creating problems in the Parliament.
This week the Congress was supposed to get back to the government on what its stand was as far as the GST bill was concerned, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and it looks like this logjam is going to continue.
Well, we have seen in Rajya Sabha that Congress is quite adamant, and Congress is in majority in Rajya Sabha, and it is impossible to pass a GST bill without the support of Congress. And we have seen yesterday that till afternoon, BJP was trying to give space to the Congress in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha both. They were saying that BJP and government has no role to play in this matter, and government and both the chairs in both the houses have nothing to offer to the Congress. If they want to discuss this issue in the Parliament, government is ready. But after in the afternoon, BJP understood that Congress is quite adamant on this, and then BJP started attacking Congress. So that kind of calm you were talking, that in the start of winter session there was calm between opposition and government, and government was giving space to opposition, and opposition was responding to that space. But from yesterday, what we have seen, it seems really difficult that legislative business, especially in Rajya Sabha, would take place.
All right, Shyam Sundar, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us there with those details. Well, allegations and counter-allegations in the National Herald case continued in and out of Parliament for the second day in a row. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi called the case 100% political vendetta coming out of the Prime Minister's office. The BJP responded by daring the Congress leader to back his claims with proof.
100% political vendetta, pure political vendetta coming out of the PM office.
For the second day in a row, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi with claims of political vendetta. He alleged that none other than the Prime Minister's office were directing the campaign against him and his mother. He also rejected the charge that the Congress is using Parliament to threaten the judiciary.
Who is threatening judiciary, we all know. I have full faith in the legal system of this country, and we will see. At the end, what comes out, the truth will come out.
Other Congress leaders also termed it a selective campaign against opposition leaders.
This yesterday's case, before yesterday's case, is one among the series. The way they have been treating the Mrs. Gandhi and his family members, the way they have been treating the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, the way they have been treating the family members of Chidambaram, but there is no action whatsoever against the Chief Ministers of Bharatiya Janata Party.
राजनीतिक मामले में राजनीतिक लोगों के दबाव में ये काम हो रहा है, इसलिए हम लोग कह रहे हैं कि ये राजनीतिक बदले की भावना है, मगर इससे कांग्रेस की आवाज दबाई नहीं जा सकती है.
Hitting back, the BJP dared Rahul Gandhi to substantiate his claims against the Prime Minister with adequate proof.
We would ask Rahul Gandhi if he has courage enough, if he has honesty enough, if he has a standing as a leader of his political party, he should come down to Parliament and give the proof of the statement which he has made against the judiciary, the proof of the statement which he has made against the government and the Prime Minister's office. We call him that he should come and give the explanation in the House.
A Delhi court has ordered both Sonia and her son Rahul Gandhi to appear on the 19th of December to answer allegations that they illegally acquired property worth crores belonging to the National Herald newspaper. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, fresh showers once again sent residents indoors in Chennai city where normal life was slowly returning. Taking note of the tragedy, the central government has decided to set up over 100 flood forecasting stations in parts of the country.
Fresh spells of rain on Wednesday increased the people's problem in Chennai. The Met Office is predicting heavy showers till 11th of December, indicating that the receding water levels could start to rise again. Civic bodies are also working hard to check any likely epidemic outbreak.
बच्चा लोगों के स्कूल आने जाने में बहुत परेशानी होता है, दुकान भी बंद हो जाता है, काम भी नहीं चलता है, बहुत पानी हो गया रूम में.
ஸ்கூல் திறந்து ஒரு மாசம் ஆயிடுச்சு, பசங்களுக்கு புக் இல்ல, ஒன்றும் இல்ல, ஸ்கூல் போகாத கஷ்டப்படுதுங்க. காய்கறி விலையெல்லாம் ஏறி போய் கிடக்குது, ஒன்றும் வாங்கி சமைச்சு சாப்பிட முடியல, இருக்கிறதுக்கு இடம் இல்ல, தங்கறதுக்கு வசதி இல்ல, யாரும் எதுவும் செய்ய மாட்டாங்கறாங்க.
About 280 people have died across the state. Large sections of the city are still submerged in water. DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi visited flood-affected areas and met people, while Chief Minister J.J. Lalita renewed her appeal to Prime Minister Narendra Modi to declare it a national calamity. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, let's now bring you some updates from across the country in Nationwide. The Delhi High Court dismissed as premature any plea filed against the Aam Aadmi Party government's proposal to run private vehicles having odd and even numbers on alternate days. The measures which were announced to tackle pollution in the city have triggered widespread debate and had been challenged in the petition. The election of almost 59,000 village heads and 7 lakh Gram Panchayat members in Uttar Pradesh are underway. The final phase of polling for 66 districts will be held on Thursday. The polls are being monitored through CCTV cameras with ballot boxes being kept under double locks. Counting will be held on the 13th of December. A high-level BJP delegation will meet President Pranab Mukherjee today demanding the dismissal of Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh. The delegation will reportedly brief the President about corruption and money laundering allegations against Singh. Underworld Don Dawood Ibrahim's seized properties are being auctioned in Mumbai. 7 properties owned by the gangster will go under the hammer under the Smugglers and Foreign Exchange Manipulators Act. Among the bidders are lawyers and former journalists. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the death toll in the Kandahar airport attack has risen to 37. A group of Taliban militants stormed the airport complex on Tuesday evening, triggering an all-night gun battle with security forces. A number of people were held hostage by the militants. All flights to and from Kandahar had to be cancelled. The Afghan government said today that an unknown number of assailants were killed in the gun battle. A number of civilians and soldiers were also killed. The attack comes at a time when Asian leaders are meeting in neighbouring Pakistan to discuss the conflict in Afghanistan. The Taliban have been ramping up attacks on government and foreign targets despite the onset of the harsh winter season when fighting usually winds down. In some more international news now, as negotiators from around 200 countries are busy trying to reach a final climate deal in Paris, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar hit out at the developed nations, saying that the support offered by them to developing nations has been low. Meanwhile, US President Barack Obama telephoned Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday to discuss the progress made in the climate change negotiations.
Flurry of talks on the sidelines of Paris Climate Summit, as representatives from around 200 countries are busy negotiating a deal to limit global warming, due to be presented on Friday. On Tuesday, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar held talks with United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and US Secretary of State John Kerry. Kerry, who had earlier said that India could be a challenge at the climate conference, said that he had very positive discussions with India. Later, Javadekar, speaking at a joint press conference of the basic countries Brazil, South Africa, India and China, asserted that there was no compromise on common but differentiated responsibilities or CBDR that separates poor and rich countries for fixing responsibilities and distribution of finance. He also said that developed nations need to do more.
Action from developing world depends upon, to a much extent, finance and technology support from developed world. But actually, world was expected to mobilize $100 billion up to 2020, but it has not made much headway.
The talks in Paris have reached a crucial phase in the final week. Developing countries, including India, have been demanding rich countries for early disbursal of funds and clean technology to mitigate the greenhouse gas pollution. Negotiators are confident that some kind of deal will be reached and they will be able to avert a repeat of the 2009 Copenhagen summit that failed.
D'une manière tout à fait ouverte et transparente, auront lieu entre mercredi après-midi, mercredi dans la nuit et jeudi. Et j'espère qu'à ce moment-là, nous aurons suffisamment avancé pour que, après une série d'itérations,
the multiple lines of evidence suggest that the Earth is warming very clearly. And for instance, the atmospheric concentrations of the CO2 has been rising, and the sea level has been rising, and the temperature of the ocean was also rising, and there is no hiatus.
Negotiators are trying to reach a deal at the climate change conference to curb global warming. A draft deal was reached last week, but key issues still remain, including a long-term goal to reduce emissions from burning coal, oil and gas. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, let's now bring you a roundup of the other international news and global buzz. A third man who helped unleash the carnage in Paris last month has been identified. 23-year-old Fahd Mohammad Agad was identified at the end of last week with a DNA test. Russia has unleashed another barrage of airstrikes against Syria with cruise missiles from a submarine in the Mediterranean Sea. The Russian Defense Ministry said it had upped the intensity of its strikes in Syria since Saturday, dropping 1,920 bombs over the past 4 days. Buses carrying Syrian civilians and armed men left Homs today as part of a reconciliation deal between the government and the rebels. The agreement will see them resettled in rebel-held areas in the Hama and Idlib provinces. Cuba and US officials have begun talks about the claims of Americans whose property was nationalized and Cuban counterclaims for damages caused by the US trade embargo. The talks in Havana are the latest in a series of bilateral meetings since the two countries restored diplomatic ties in July. Moving on to some sports news now. The much-anticipated cricket series between arch-rivals India and Pakistan is likely to be held between December 24th and the 5th of January. The Pakistan Cricket Board said this on Wednesday, but India is yet to confirm the announcement. A final decision is expected to be announced after a meeting between the foreign ministers of the two countries, Sushma Swaraj and Sartaj Aziz, in Islamabad later today. The curtailed series could feature 3 ODIs and T20s. And it will be played in Sri Lanka, that emerged as a neutral venue after being agreed upon by the heads of the PCB and the BCCI.
It is up to the government to take a call on that. But as far as BCCI is concerned, it is just because of the previous agreement signed with the Pakistan Cricket Board. We are not in a position to take any call, but that is a binding as such on us.
That's it on this edition of the News at 6. Have a good evening.